All right, welcome back to our third part in this educational series where I am walking you through Turfile from A to Z. In this video, we are jumping into the home section and we are going to run through the toolbar on the left-hand side and some things that you should probably do when you first set up your property. So if you have teammates that you would like to start collaborating with, one thing that would be great to do is invite them to your Turfile workspace. So for us to invite teammates into Turfile, we need to navigate over to the account and profile panel. So this is where you manage your account. The first tab is all about you and your details. The second tab is all about your property. So your subscription and how much storage you've used and how many seats you have left. And then the third tab is all about your team and managing your team. Now, this is the exact location where you're going to be able to invite people into your workspace. So if you take a look over here on the right-hand side, we have this invite teammate button. So if you give that a click, it's going to drop down some fields that you need to fill out. So you need to enter the email of the individual that you're trying to invite, maybe assign them their role. So if they're assistant superintendent or irrigation tech, whatever it may be. And then you need to assign them a permission level. Now, these permission levels are super important to understand because they quite literally impact the way that people can behave inside of your Turfile property. So to give you the Cliff Notes version of what each permission level does, we'll start with owner. Owner has no restrictions. If you set up your property, you are likely an owner. You can do anything and everything. Management is essentially the exact same as owner. The only difference is that management doesn't have access to billing, and they also don't have the ability to change owners' permission levels. Tech staff is kind of middle of the tier permission level. So they don't have the option to manage the team at all. They can't adjust permission levels. They can't invite people. Most of the mapping abilities, so adding infrastructure to your map, is disabled for tech staff. They also can't delete anything from the platform. So staff is the lowest level permission that one can be assigned inside of a Turfile workspace. It is more of a viewer role than anything. About 90% of the tools that we are going to go over in this series are not available for staff. So they are limited. They can't delete anything. They can't really interact with anything as well. However, they can still be assigned tasks. So that's the kicker, right? You can still assign these individuals tasks and they will be notified and they can still solve tasks that they are associated with. So we'll jump into more of that stuff a bit later. So just for clarification, after you send an invite to somebody through this interface, they will receive an email just like your welcome email when you signed up for the platform. Now, I'd recommend that you let them know, hey, I just invited you, so they can take a look at their inbox and they can follow that invite link to accept the invite, and it will prompt them to create an account and sign into the property. So once somebody is in your property, you can actually adjust their permission level if anything changes. So it's not fixed to the permission level that you assign when you send the invite. So now that we've invited some teammates into our platform, we probably want to create some issues and start managing these individuals. The home section is a great place to create general issues on the map. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in irrigation and in bunkers and in trees, you're going to be mapping out your infrastructure, like individual heads and individual trees and individual bunkers. Now, these assets, you can actually assign issues to them. So if you have issues on your property that don't necessarily fit any of the other asset types, you can still map it on the property in the home section. And that's what we're going to do. So if you navigate here over to the left-hand side and you click the Add Issue, we're going to jump into a placement mode. Now, when you're in placement mode, navigate to the location that you want to create an issue on. Now, maybe this area right here, I want to cut down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click to place a marker. And then once I click, it's going to prompt me to select how I want this marker to be displayed on the map. Because maybe it's not just a point, right? Maybe it's a long edge of a curb, or maybe it's a big area. So I can choose depending on the type of area that I'm trying to define. So I'm going to choose polygon in this situation. So once I choose polygon, I'm put straight into drawing mode. So I can drop vertexes and draw a polygon around the area that I want to cut, and double click to finish. So once I'm happy with the polygon, I can click continue. And this is a great place to add details and more information for your staff about the issue that you want solved. So I'm going to give it a title. And then you can also give it some details as well. And if you really want, you can actually upload some photos. And then once you're happy, you can click save. There you go. You've created your first issue on the map. If you click it, it'll outline the polygon and give you the details of what needs to be done. You can also see over on the left-hand side that an issue has been populated in our issue list. So the next logical step is taking this issue and then putting it on somebody's plate. So if you navigate over again to the issue panel, if you hover over this issue, you see that we have an option to make a to-do. So let's click make a to-do and see what happens. So in this step, we see a list of everybody that is a member of this property. Now, right now it's just myself, so I can only make a to-do for myself. So once you select somebody, you are going to be prompted to select a date that this to-do needs to be completed by. And then you can create the to-do. So once our to-do has been created, you can see over on the left-hand side that our to-do manager has been populated with a new to-do. So the to-do manager is two-tabbed. The left tab shows all of your to-dos, and then the right tab shows everybody on the property and their to-dos. So after you assign a task to one of your teammates, if they come into the property, they can click, see what's going on, and then solve it when the task is done. So when they try to solve the issue, they will be prompted to enter a description, any important details that they need to share with yourself, and potentially upload some photos if needed. So one of my favorite features of Turfile is having the ability to turn your map into a canvas and mark up and draw and plan with your team all in real time. Now, this is possible due to a tool called whiteboards. Now, if you want to open a whiteboard, you're going to navigate over to the left and click on this whiteboard button. Now, you will be prompted to create a whiteboard. So in order to create a new whiteboard, you just click create your first board and give it a name. So maybe we want to name this one, I don't know, new card path. Who knows? We'll create it. And then we're immediately put into this whiteboard mode. So once we enter the whiteboard, the environment becomes very familiar and very intuitive. So you can draw, you can mark up text, you can make shapes, all very simple stuff. So maybe in this whiteboard, we have a proposed plan to create a new cart path going from this location to this location. So what we can do is we can select the pen tool, select our color, select the width, and then draw. Maybe if you want to add a couple shapes, you can do that as well. You can also add text. Now, the cool thing is that these are now stuck to the map. So if you want to move around to the new locations, you can. And what's even cooler is that you can leave these whiteboards and then come back to them at a later date and continue planning. The next tool that I want to show you is one that excites me a great deal, and that is the Turfile Vision tool. So Turfile Vision is powered by AI and machine learning. And essentially what it does is it recognizes objects that you are clicking on and has the ability to mask those objects. So let's just jump into an example. Maybe I really want to get the square footage of this pond and I want to do it quickly. Turfile Vision speeds this process up immensely. So to activate vision mode, what you want to do is navigate over to the left-hand toolbar and click on vision mode. Now, once you activate vision mode, you won't be able to move the map. So make sure that whatever object you want to use Turfile Vision on is centered. So I'm going to center it in the map here. And then I'm going to click Activate Vision. Now, based on the current configuration of Turfile Vision, our backend needs to warm up when you use this service. Now, I'll spare you the details, but all you really need to know is that when you come into the app for the first time and you decide to use Turfile Vision, there's a very good chance that this indicator is going to say capturing view for a good 30 to 40 seconds. And in that time, you're not going to be able to place clicks. That's totally fine. It's not broken. It just means that the service is warming up. Once it's warmed up, all of your vision should be very, very quick. So once it says waiting for clicks, it means that Turfile Vision is ready to go. So all I'm going to do is I am going to place a click on the map. And then within seconds, we get a mask around the object with a square footage. So let's look at a different example that's a bit more tricky. To do this, we're going to go to a different golf course. So one question that I get quite frequently is, what about shadows? How does Turfile Vision handle shadows? And to be honest with you, it can work pretty well. And this is a really good example. So as you can see on the screen, I have a bunker here. And half of the bunker is very clearly defined, and the other half, not so much. So as you guessed it, when I place my marker right here, I'm only going to get a mask on this side of the bunker. But obviously we have all of this left over. So what we can do is we can actually drop another click in this side of the bunker. And as you can see, we get the full square footage. Now here's another example. What if I don't want to get the full bunker? Maybe my mask is selecting too much, like it is in this example. Well, I can actually select a negative point and then place it on the area that I don't want to be included inside of the mask. And then the mask will recalculate and choose the best option that the vision model thinks you want. Now, Turfile Vision isn't just used to get quick square footages. It's also going to help you map out your bunkers very quickly and other assets as well. Now, the tools that we've gone through thus far in the video are good enough to get you rolling in the home section. I'm going to create another video to go over some of the tools that we didn't go over in the home section, such as the asset manager, photo manager, the history tab, and the measurement tools. Now, before we wrap up this video, there is one final thing that I would like to show you, and that is the feedback launcher. So given that Turfile is early in its life, it's really important that we receive feedback from yourself and your team on what's working and what's not working. So if you come down to the left corner and click on Report an Issue, it's going to open up this panel. So anytime something glitches or goes wrong, or overall you're just confused, please feel free to submit a report. Select what browser you were using when this happened, describe it to the best of your ability, and then attach any photos that you may have. And then send the feedback. We review all of our feedback submissions, and if it requires an outreach, we will get in touch with you. Anyway, that is it for the home section today. I hope that made things a bit more clear and you feel more comfortable jumping into the platform and using it. In our next video, we're going to jump into the irrigation section and we're going to start to map out a system. We'll see you in the next one.